Uh, Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone in this room. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of this. Hello, everyone in the internet. Thank you so much for continuing to be a part of this. As restrictions have lifted, but the pandemic gave us so many opportunities to reach out, and we don't want to let go of those quite just yet. So thank you so much for being connected to El Paso in this way. And those of you in the future, hello. You look nice. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting the written word and the arts and so on. Thank you for being there in the future, because there will be a future. Isn't that great? They say it's all going to be better. You know what they say, though. Oh, this is to celebrate National Poetry Month, and this is also to celebrate the 28th birthday. I think birthday is the right word, because it's not the 28th anniversary. This is the 28th birthday of the Tumblewords project. It was started, do some math, in 1995 by Donna Snyder and continued throughout the El Paso borderlands, giving free generative writing workshops to the El Paso, Juarez, Las Cruces region. And in August 2020, as needs must, we went digital. We went to a Zoom format, and we were able to continue our mission through there, and made strong connections throughout the entire country and the entire world. In fact, we have an international contingent to our reading tonight. Hello, Kelly. And it's just a really great thing that communication is possible, that the written word carries so much, that words in general carry much more than our backs can. And we're real thankful for that. And this is a celebration of that and its continuation. So thank you all for being a part of this and for being part of the continuing legacy of Tumblewords. But we want to start with our reading. We will be reading in 2 tracks. We have our contingent here at Genuine Reference Studios. Thank them for all their hard work putting this together. And our first reader is someone who frankly put this all into motion, put this event into motion. She just asked an innocent question about what could be possible. And that made us think, well, yeah, what is possible? And here we all are. Raquel Mejia is a playwright, and hang on while I work to it. Is a bilingual poet, playwright, translator, literary curator for events and anthologies, and a judge for the International Latino Book Award. She helped edit the Life in the Time project, which BorderSenses released in 2021. And she, every year for Tumblewords, she hosts a workshop around Dia de los Muertos. She's a very powerful voice, and we're grateful to have her. Please welcome Raquel Mejia.
Oh my goodness, powerful voice. Uh-oh, okay. Thank you everyone for being here. I live on the border of 2 countries, the United States and Mexico, and 3 states, Texas, New Mexico, and Chihuahua. I live where we embrace the desert, its beauty, and survive its horror. Writing is a way we process a cave of complicated things. Mangled and menacing things we verbally traverse to find a door for mental relief, for action. Our border shines with much happiness, but also bleeds with much sorrow. We can process the light, buttercup, puppies, birthday balloons reaching for blue sky. Darkness needs the spitting and splitting of verbs and nouns to carve out a plain spoken road, easy to hike, easy to stroll, a way to ease and release the communal pain valve. I write and share this in hopes you too will view the border with a compassionate eye. I I present this piece inspired by Carlos Espinosa from at Barrio Panther. He presented a workshop this year at Tumblewords. And I also read it for Maria Miranda Maloney's press, Mouthfeel Press, for Poetry Month. Again, my name is Raquel Mejia, and this is The Naked Truth. The truth eventually appears. It finds its way into daylight. The naked truth can never lay dormant forever. A toe, a shoe, a body half baked by the torturous sun. Over 370 truths and bodies have been unearthed over our border. No answers, some without names, no metal bars in front of accusers, no accusers found, unearthed, only naked bodies, pieces of them, bones, the random rag to identify a sadistic story, a naked truth. Picture a mother in daylight, naked, covered only by the poster of her dead daughter, Ruby Escobedo, 16 years old. Now picture her running, wet, with the red river of life flowing from the bloody bullet blasted in her head. In daylight, she stood protesting in front of the building and people sworn to protect her. Everyone's eyes peeled and watched the mother shot in daylight. Everyone's round eyes, round like their mouth, round, clicking on repeat. Everyone eyeing the naked truth bleeding on screens. Everywhere. A lake of red naked truth without rescue or resuscitation. Jesus never appeared, except on the mouths of mothers, only daylight and all of us watching, then nothing. A brief and simple breeze came and carried away her tortured, naked soul. Let this visceral vision haunt you. Let it crawl under your naked skin. Let it sit inside you as it does me. Naked on the streets takes more than a tiger's courage. Sometimes shock is the only costume we can wear. What would you wear if that was your child? I don't want us to forget her name. Marisela Escobedo, 52 years old. Soon we must learn a new one. Soon another naked pile of truths appears. Soon new stories that replay like a melody you already know the words to. To lull and dull my mind, I embroider on virgin cotton cloth. Embroidery is considered a calming act, the work of women. Women are pictured out of the way, busy, passive, pliable like a dead and dry palm leaves weaved into a doormat. I stitched alone, but with an army of mothers dressed. Bordamos por la paz, a battalion of solidarity, each stitching a name, a date, a life taken. Isabel Cabanillas, 26 years old, January 18, 2020, activist, artist, member of Hijas de su Maquilera Madre. I picked Isabel Cabanillas like one picks a brown penny from a giant jar. Now look at your 10 fingers, each balancing their own brown penny. Each one a missing, murdered, mutilated girl, woman, mother, daily. a clothesline of names, an endless list of murdered women, our white flags wearing witness in daylight, flying and bearing our borders dirty laundry. We embroidered these truths together, most without daylight. Our motherly voices of resistance stitched with color lines on white cotton. Our white linen squares wave from town squares. Our white linen purgatory proof wave in the wind on a telling wire. Mexico isn't the only place for brown pennies. Vanessa Guillen, 20 years old, April 22nd, 2020. Ana Basaldua Reese, 20 years old, March 13, 2023. Murdered in Fort Hood, a place sworn to protect them. They too need their names stitched on starched linen. They too wave white flags, flying stained scars. You too have been stitched in as a witness.
Thank you so much, Raquel. That was an excellent way to kick things off, but we do not have any weak points in this lineup. Steel sharpens steel. Everyone is going to be better from having heard from everyone else. That's how it's supposed to work anyway. But we're going to go through the magic of technology up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the shadow of the Allegheny Mountains, a much different set of mountains than our beloved Franklin's. But in Pittsburgh, that is where Vale Larkin plies their trade. They are a regular in our Barbed Wire Open Mic series based in El Paso, and they have just had a play open called Words of the Prophets. I managed to secure my digital ticket, and it was well worth the time and money. Vale is a very talented person and has hosted a Tumblewords in the past and will in the future. And I can't wait for y'all to listen to what they have to say tonight. They'll take it away.
I think I'm the first person speaking. Is the volume okay? We're good? Okay. So they said do pieces that we wrote in or related to Tumblewords. So these are all pieces that I wrote directly from Tumblewords prompts. Dear Vale, I cannot say that I have often thought of you with love or tenderness before. I know every single mistake that you have made and every time you broke your word, don't I? I saw you lie. I saw when you slashed and lashed out in your fury and broke their hearts with words. I know your jealousy, the way you wish for things that are not yours, are not meant to be yours. I see how you cry when the night comes and wish you were anywhere pain isn't each morning. I know how your mind drifts back to before you were broken and life was meat and blood and real. I see how you put on your faces to show them you're brave, and you're not. You never have been. Dear Vale, you are so weak and fearful beneath the shining masks you wear. Will they see you now? Dear Vale, it isn't true, you know. It isn't. You're not a mythic monster. You're not death. You're just someone fighting upstream all the journey, because that's life, that's breath. And you can't stay in one place or body for longer than right now, and now gone. It's all moving and flowing, flying to pieces and reshaping itself. Each split second we hurtle around stars, around black holes. We flow through our universe in millions of ways, and nothing, no, nothing could be the same. You are not lost. because every stream is unknown, unknowable, and you cannot judge your present by your past, because nothing is left where you set it, and neither are you. Mistakes happen, and you try not to make things the same in the future, because you know that sameness is death, is the monster at the end of the journey, because life is the deep, blind current, where we all find our futures in ever mysterious ways. Little gods, swimming. Angels, atlases. Sorry. Angels, atlases, and ocean choreography. Their bodies are synchronized by sound. The cloth on their legs is dark and unobtrusive, and every seeming stagger is mirrored by many layers of sameness, making a hazel of the stage, making a liquid, shifting lake. The soul is in the heart, we like to say, or maybe the mind, or stomach, or maybe nowhere, a nothing, an empty quest. Their souls are in their hands, the tension of one or two fingers making a bird of their flight around the stage. Someone is reaching, someone is pushing, someone is caressing the air like a lover. Here are hands gripping the music like it is the only thing they can cling to in life. Here are hands like dancers too, like they are making their own patterns in counterpoint to the body they belong with. Their bodies are making waves through the space. Their hands are making waves like myriad molecules in the ocean, like a handful of water, like sound creating sight, synesthesia that every single listener can see. And this last one is sort of reminiscent of the first one, but sometimes Tumblewords takes you to some other places. The Fool. One day I woke up and said, what would happen if I took them off? My carefully crafted faces, my masks to make the world like me more? I tried it, unpeeled a layer with my nails and spit out a truth in a crowd full of strangers. The applause was unexpected. I tried again, brought guilt, brought lurid lust and glitter bright greed and the most dreadful wishes for power, acclaim, and understanding. Wonder and worship are weird things from the lips of comrades. Once more, I opened my mouth as wide as it would, vomited a torrent of truth from my deepest well of shame, watched it drain away, and when I had voided my heart, lungs, and entrails, turned to my friend who had burst into tears and sympathetically dragged truth from their own core, poured it out, and sobbed in relief with me. 10 minutes of scrubbing and all those shamed ears drained, purified, and set in new frames. Truths are like doorways that always stay open. Truths are like windows that clears the air. Truths give us waypoints to find all our journeys. Truths give us swaddling to soothe and to succor. And anywhere we go, they go. And anyone we know grows through them, and still we run faster than meaning to elude them. The applause clatters like footsteps running away. Worship is misdirected. Catharsis is nothing. Wholeness is alone. A pure heart is impermeable. The world eats its young, and life, it ends, my lovelies. There is a truth for all of us.
Thank you so much, Vale. Thank you. They will be hosting a workshop, title to be determined, in late July. And now back to Genuine Reference. Our next reader, I believe it was in 2011, 2012. I was out of town at the time, so I'm a bit shaky on the details. She helped put together Remskla, which was a journal of Tumblewords products by Tumblewords people. And when you're in Tumblewords, you're always in Tumblewords. That's not a threat like the mafia. That's welcoming like Applebee's. And so she fortunately was in town and was able to make it. And we are very happy to welcome Maria Miranda Maloney, the founder of Mouthfeel Press in 2009, a poet, writer, editor, and publisher. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Kit. That was a very beautiful introduction. First poem. On the eve of the 26th wedding anniversary, you slept soundly, spilled your breath over the blankets, and I wanted to love you, not in another life, but this one, when in our youth we had deposited our vows. This life, buoyant, cloven, missile, wild, where we had sworn to see the end of days together. At that moment, as you laid still upon our bed, your eyes shut, barely a twitch touched your body, I chose to be with you again. Pledge my love, gasping and imperfect, knowing then, by God, there was more. When I became a mother, the first time I saw my newborn son, his eyes locked to mine, expecting me to say something, and I trusting he'd teach me how to be human, to help me figure out how this whole damn thing worked. When I took him home, I banished into the walls a half portrait of myself among misfits of other hanging pictures. I hung between misty regions of light and warmth, joy and happiness, poetry and prose, watching my son, a sapling grow, breeze steering beneath his feet, then tropical storms. All the music of him sprawled in front of me, my ear for his words, my eye for his form, the line of him passed my peripheral vision as if I were a page. Bound to a wall, I watched his first 3 years, the half of me, slowly growing flesh, then hair, until one day his tiny hand painted the other half of me. Meditation on self-love. I followed the swans where they flew, one behind the other, wingspans 6 feet and white feathers. These swans, beating their wings, flew over spindrift, sunlight, leaves. I watched them until my eyes burned the sky's skin, until days tumbled with meaning and corners piled up with poetry, until I quit my house, my country, and knowledge drifted, until I learned to love for its own sake. Lacking an object, empty, I began. Thank you.
Thank you, Babalo. Thank you, Miranda. Okay, well, coming up next to our digital stage, someone who has weaved himself into the walls. We couldn't get him out if we wanted to, and we don't want to. I want to make that absolutely clear. He expressed disappointment with himself because we recently hit the 3-year anniversary of our Barbed Wire open mic YouTube series, and on rewatching it, Mike thought he had been there, but he has only actually been with us since June of 2020. When you come late to the wise man's party, the wise man says, "Thanks for coming to my party." And so, thank you, Mike Sindler. Please take it away.
Hey, what a great privilege it is to be here. I'm going to start with one that I wrote for Tumblewords that I facilitated actually. And I thought this was one that Donna would like. It's called Ode to Shekinah. Mother of all, we see you in all, each rounded hill, your beating bosom, milk of your heart and each sweet fruit, your coursing power running through wave, wind, and earthly tremor, fierce, untamed mistress holding all life in gentle arms of green, your beauty bursting in infinite color and infinite scent and infinite texture, arousing all affection, all rush to valor. We ache in every aspect of our essence to once again be one with you. The deep womb of the grave itself only brings us closer to rebirth in new form. O Aphrodite, O Kali, O Avalokiteshvara, release your Shakti and your compassion. Only through you is life made true. And wanted to do a couple that I actually wrote for Donna. And the first one is very shortly after she passed, and it's called For Donna. There is what ends and what does not end. No dividing line between the two makes mirror twins of time and timeless. What is, and what was, and what will be. All states flow and blend in harmony. Love layers deep, successive cushions over seed pod of pain. All lingers, all grows, all fades into eternity. Form and substance rearrange, flit from matter to mass to being to ineffable. Air thickens into water, water rolls over hardened sentient heart. Heart ties souls together and never dies. And this one I wrote actually just the other day because it's not like we're ever going to forget her. And it's called Invisible Dogs for Donna Snyder. On a couch, invisible dogs, not invisible, camouflaged, on leather, snuffling, snorting, while Donna reads the rules. Their stories, tragic comedies, outlast the human that love them so fiercely. And I just want to end with a haiku. We're all coyotes in thin air beyond the cliff. Try not to look down. Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Michael, out of Denver. And back here in Genuine Reference Studios, next we want to introduce someone, a very talented young poet, a very emotionally intelligent poet. The first booking of Tumblewords that I made independently when Donna first turned that over to me, and someone who was there towards the end of her life and very, very close to her. And so I do want to welcome to the stage Cassie Holging Pettinato.
Thank you. So I want to read from my book, The Lamb's Tale, and it's my favorite one to read because it's about my mom, and I find it really funny now. Mothers donated their sons camouflage uniforms just for her to ravage through. A wannabe Vietnam veteran, an army surplus dumpster diver, as if she were the war hero. On Dyer Street, we looked through racks of shirts and pants, jackets with last names sewn into them, Ramirez, Perez, Lopez. We brought home the dead skin of soldiers, not fresh like desert rain, but a dust storm inside a horse. My mother, a cross-dressing Rambo, dressed me in camouflage, GI Cassandra. She wrapped me in blobs of greens and browns to blend in with the trees and mountains, hoping to protect me. The colors covered my lamb skin, transformed me into a shapeless body, nothing to look at or admire, no threat of being food. Cute. And these two are from my new book that's going to be coming out next year. It's for my brother, MRI. I thought of him as I was inside the war machine. I closed my eyes and I left my body. I thought that he probably had to do the same thing to survive. It reminded me of a POW torturing device. The repeating sounds of gunfire, metal hitting metal, the sounds of crying soldiers looking at pictures of their sons every night. I had to dissociate, the only way to withstand being buried alive. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had to hold still too, make up a song in your head. While in basic training, you jumped in 30 feet of water from 15 feet high. But you weren't there the moment mom stopped making potato tacos with Mexican rice or vegetable soup. You missed my college graduation, and you've never been to any of my poetry readings. You weren't there when Blockbuster closed, or the moment I turned into salt looking for God. But I wasn't there either in the foxhole with you. I wasn't there when your truck ran over an IED. I wasn't there the moment your head hit the ground. I wasn't there to see your finger on the trigger. I wasn't there when the enemy approached you. I wasn't there the moment your heart became callous. I wasn't there the day Johnny died. I wasn't there for you either. Thank you. And my last one, I want to end with some healing, and it's about my daughter. Ode to my Black child. I learned to care for her coils and curls anointed with tangerine and coconut oil. Ancient fossils detangled through my fingers. My Black child's hair is a healing balm. My Black child hair is interwoven with mine. My Black child's hair wraps me in knots. My Black child's hair is a fragile song. My Black child hair grows upward and spreads out like a sunflower. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cassie. And next, through the miracles of technology, we are headed to the East Coast, to Washington, D.C. And this is another person who is ever present on what I guess we'll call the online poetry scene. He's he brings joy wherever he goes. Look at that smile. He's a very, very friendly, unquestionably supportive person. And whenever he shows up to Tumblewords, as he did this afternoon, he usually manages to surprise us all. So I want to welcome, please, Ed Poetastic to the stage.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being so fantastic. Thank you for being so enthusiastic. Thank you for being so bombastic. Thank you, my dear Tumblewords and Barbed Wire family. Thank you for being here, listening to my poetry. My name is Ed Poetastic, feeling fantastic. Please get in time to enjoy my rhyme follows sublime. I got 3 pieces, so you know I'm going to rhyme. My first piece has to be from Richie's wonderful workshop this afternoon. So I'm gonna make everyone's hearts bloom and swoon. This is called H2U. Be like the water, be calm, not hotter. Be like the ocean, stay balanced in motion. Be like a creek. Be gentle, not a freak. Be like the skies. Be open, fly, fly, fly. Be like the rain. Be the H2O to wash the pain. Be like the sun. Be the beacon of fun. Be like the mountain. Be stern with strong hands. Be the thunderstorm. Be the lightning in the norm. Be the hurricane. Be the wind blowing away the stains. Be the planets. Be the humanity for our magnets. Be the power inside of you. Keep doing the elemental, fundamental things only you can do. Thank you. This is a favorites piece. This is called They Have Landed. To the American people, the aliens have landed. They look advanced and evil. Oh my God, look heavy-handed. They're quick coming down. Hero bolts from the skies. They don't make any sounds. Oh my God, the darkness in their eyes. They look skinny and frail. They want to meet our leader. I say more, but I'm eating Taco Bell. Oh my God, that pentameter. They said me doing a moonwalk. There's some stellar moves. Oh my God, they're gonna stand and talk. Hope our bond can improve. It appears a guy's moving towards them. Oh my, has a Confederate flag. Oh my God, he looks American and dim. But let's pray if he doesn't brag. He said, "We don't like your kind here." Oh my God, the Grand has ready his blaster. Oh my God, man, cover your rear. Looks like a huge disaster. I know what you're thinking. I'm not doing a freaking thing. My patience is shrinking. The Grand ain't temper held by a string. The Grand ain't blast to the sky. Damn Jim ran and hide. I felt like I almost died. What a crazy and unbelievable ride. Out of the sky came Godzilla. Now breathing, stomping about. Why could it be Gilla the gorilla? Oh no, everybody scream and shout. Everybody's panicking. Oh boy, what can go wrong? Oh no, King Kong, aka the Monkey King. He looks creaky and strong. There seemed to be a man with a billboard. It reads, Kong versus Godzilla. Place your bets. Oh my God, people are coming in herds. Hey, on Kong. Everything is here, including my vest. This is something unrelated, but send cash to my cash app. My life in danger, just like you. Come on, show some little where it's at. I want to order something for Jumbo Juice. I know I should be scared, but I just want to get rich. Screw the gecko, go Kong. Make that giant gecko your bitch. Oh yeah, here comes the gong. Godzilla rushes to Kong. God, why'd I buy popcorn? Come on, you big ape. Don't take too long. Siri, I said how to make popcorn, not porn. King Kong sways Godzilla around, there by scaly tail. It's like one big freaking merry-go-round. In straight detail, Kong, aim for electric rails. Godzilla's getting angry. Oh my God, smoke is coming from his mouth. Oh my God, it comes with atomic bomb, frankly. It looks like me eating a plate of Brussels sprouts. Godzilla's breathing huge bang. Mr. King Kong by a hair. I know it just steam. Godzilla, that was cheating and unfair. Wait, where are they staring at? Billboards for donuts and burritos? Don't stand there, look at that. They stop fighting. Oh my God, I'm gonna explode. Oh my God, Godzilla's giving me the finger. I need a giant robot ASAP. You big green cold-blooded stinger. I can't believe I saw that. Now they're holding hands. They're probably getting something to eat. I don't really understand. What happened to the brawl and heat? Don't go away. I bet everything on you. I pray on this day, but my critters will go higher than the moon. To the Earthlings, I owe you. Oh my God, so much chaos has transcended. What are we possibly going to do? Thank you. I got one more for Encore Fairmore. This is called Sympathy of Poetry. Poetry is lively than any sunflower rose, while any explanation of logic goes. The sweet simile of pure creativity, so appreciate the effects and the sensitivity. Sharp words fire straight to the heart, rain down through skies of vivid art. Eat words covered in emotions, like fishes dancing in the clear ocean, seeing a bouquet of colorful flowers, blossoming in a magnificent array of power. Writing and reading like dancing and singing, the parade of words is only the beginning. Notebooks telling us into a literary world, pages jumping off insightful, delightful spirals, shared by concrete imaginative minds, lessons growing very personal design. The pleasure of constant desirable writing, patterns of free verse, limerick, haiku, or rhyming, reinventing tales of new, personal, and old, polishing them to shine like luminous gold. Oh, poetry, you illumine me with your verbal melody, ears full of worldly fireworks of complete harmony. The lines sewn in this ugly yet beautiful universe, flowing words of true verse go straight on course. Please downpour us a radiant sight of weather. Shower us till we're redder or feel even better. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you, Eddie. He, even yes, even though its connection to Tumblewords is tenuous at best, I appreciate that you read my favorite one. Okay, well, taking it back here to El Paso, our next reader is someone who's been very important to the smooth running of Tumblewords and has even taken the basic structure of Tumblewords and applied it to his work with veterans groups. And he likes to say that he's a wannabe Hemingway, but I say he's something better. He's not the next Hemingway. He's the first Bill Sparks. So Bill, come on up, please.
Thank you all for being here. I'm humbled to be in the presence of some of these writers. They are fantastic. Let me see if I can give you something I wrote in Tumblewords. You may be asking yourself, whatever happened to? Turning it?
People online.
All right. You may be asking yourself, whatever happened to him, her, fill in the blanks? If so, know that I am fine. I am pleased that you remember me. We were only 8 years old when we met, and we were barely adults 10 years later when we went our separate ways. I often smile, as I hope you do, when I think of those days. Children playing before adulthood took our innocence away. When we next meet, you can tell me your life, college, marriage, children may be grandchildren. I will bring my own pictures of a traveling soldier, pictures of faraway places, each with a story or two of my own. When I think of you, I smile. I hope you know that I may be far away. The miles and years that separate us can never wash away the bond of friendship between us. And for those, you know, the veteran community is so wide and so broad, and I am a Cold War warrior for all practical terms. They had to make up the name for guys like me. I served 20 years and was never shot at once, not even by a jealous husband. So I want to read an old soldier's tale. I was what I was. I was not what they are today. I was not a warrior. I was a soldier with a job to do. I was not at war. I was there to prevent a war. My war, it was a different kind of war, a cold war facing an enemy. We were like firemen. The truck was ready, the hoses were dry, just waiting for the bell to ring. I salute the warrior of all ages. Hoo-ah, oorah, fair winds and following seas. This we'll defend, they say. Fly, fight, and win, aim high. Semper fidelis, semper fortis, semper paratus, semper supra. I was what I was. I was not what they are today. I was not a warrior. I was a soldier with a job to do. I was not at war. I was there to prevent a war. I salute all who served, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, even the spacemen among us now. I salute the warriors of all ages, past and present, and the veterans they have all become. For all of those we came home with, and for those we left behind, a salute from an old soldier. This one is kind of pointed towards today. I hope you will get my gist. Hello, how are you? A friendly smile for passersby. How did we get here from there? Now I'm angry. I reach for a weapon, a rock, a stick, a spear, an arrow, gunpowder tamed, a gun, a rifle, a pistol, a cannon, a bomb, a missile, unleashing the power of the atom. Too many guns, too many weapons, too easy to use quickly. And when the bomb goes off, duck and cover. How did we get here from there? Hello, how are you? Friendly smile for the passerby. And I have one more here. Wars, far away wars, out of sight, out of mind, until satellite news makes it real. Death and destruction, film in 11. It's not a movie. For every generation has its own war, at home or abroad. Wars on poverty, wars on drugs, wars of words, wars on inflation, wars to defend against tyranny, wars for peace. Just or unjust, wars are wars. Refugees flow across the landscape. Soldiers return home broken and dispirited. Monuments are built to honor their courage. Cemetery headstones honor their sacrifice. Blue stars are displayed proudly to show patriotism. Gold stars are the solemn reminders of the real cost of war. Wars, faraway wars, out of sight, out of mind. Yes, every generation has its own war at home or abroad. Is any generation ever ready to pay the cost? And with the permission of the chairman, I am South. There were once women who made many kings by taking a mate. The tacit memory of them inhabits me, like stones left to mark my way. The blood of northern tribes undeniably runs through my body. My hair is reddish and my skin pale, with cinnamon flecks, but I am South. Gravity pulled me from north to south to find some truer self. South is where I learned to swallow Pablo Neruda like rum. South is where time stretches out like a bus trip in exotic lands. And South is where I can both swear and sweat in Spanish. There is antiquity here everywhere, and I have become part of it. The inscrutable past etched across desertscapes like ghost buttes, the scattered and desiccated detritus of other lives lived and other loves. Effulgent plains and circles circling out through time and space like ephemeral water. The hurried kiss of desert stones. I am South. Donna Schneider.
Thank you, Bill, for the benefit of underlining it. His last poem was a cover poem by someone you've heard mentioned several times before, our founder, the late Donna Snyder. And coming up next to our digital stage, you know, it's very interesting the connections we make over Zoom events and the like during this 3-year epoch. It turns out that, like Newton and Leibniz, independent of each other, invented calculus. It turns out that over in San Francisco, there's something very similar to Tumblewords called Poetry Games. And it's one of many properties led by the great Finn Bell, who has also crossed over and hosted Tumblewords a few times herself. Finn, we're glad to have you. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Kit. Good evening, folks. Happy National Poetry Month. I am so tickled and pleased to be amongst you tonight, lovely poets. May there be 28 more years of Tumblewords. It is so essential to this community, especially now that it's part of the global poetry community. So I have 2 poems for you tonight. The first one is called Experi. I am the miracle placed in the ancient fissured mason jar. I am put on the back shelf for later use, the just in case moments. I am malleability when I want to be, but become something even more than that, softer for others. I escape my confines and spill into you, and this wouldn't be complete without my dogs. Don't sop me up with an old dish rag. Don't put me back, please, to entomb in the comforting dust. Don't leave me to the rote of repetition and endless daydreams. Don't lay me in the pot evenly, a show of seemingly reverential motions because you had lost the sensation and memory of what to do. Do you believe the wiles of recipes when they tell you what is bitter and what is better whole? Do these concoctions break the mold, rise their own yeast and tickle your nose, where you pause, pretend, and then bury your whole face to take that long whiff, intoxicated? I am plagued inside my fat-laced heart that I am a displacement, a thing for other tables, other palates that seek and question. I know my place. I don't know my place. I don't know this way of being the salve, but not the flavor. It is pride that will effervesce, but also truth. I am taunted by the stars who sit outside of the kitchen window at night, teasing me with the notion that they are close enough to touch. I know that they lie to me as a kindness. I stir on my place upon the counter and spoil my own lingering sweetness. I am damned by this desire to not be here, to not be of this place. The dreams take hold again, and I am a creature of flight and with my own light to bear. I want to join each twinkling new sun, already carefully planning its own death rites. I know that I shouldn't dream beyond myself, but I want to laugh with them and break bread. And so I wanted to finish with, I lost it for a moment. This is a tribute to my favorite science fiction writer, Tanith Lee, who passed away in May 2015. It's called Silver Redemption. Commence transmission. Rove through with care and survive a soulless, disposable world with your perfect shell of a silver heart intact. 1. Consider Utopia and all her plot holes. She is lover to her cousin in the underworld, twice as mad, copying the movements of replicate mind since her first birth. 2. Promiscuity is allotted today, not allowed. Always command performance on someone else's terms. The sexual revolution, it never happened. The androids are tidiness and they sweep the propaganda into the sewers. Below ground, new immortals dance. Bodies are not property, are not sanitized sexuality, augmented in filthied up thought data sequence. Stop. Save. Retrieve the corrupted hollow copy to keep you warm throughout the tepid passion climate controlled nights. 3. When we are death and rebirth in an unending fire halo pattern in our solitary spheres, are we calling this now truly living? 4. Don't fuck the quasi-robots. Make love to them completely with abandon. They have feelings too, though they refrain from admitting it. They are aware the government guides them, governs us, watches our every moment in keyholes, and pretend that they don't know that we are also watching them watch us. The complicity is silent. The subterfuge is absolute. 5. The androids imagined us before we conceived ourselves, their own presence illusion to fill the void of life. Our dreams are the construct. Our lives are the dreams. Our lives are not the reality. 6. Once we decide that we cease to matter, our emptiness begs to design us a spaceship coffin. To escape the pomegranate-shaped earth, regurgitated succeeds, eject from a hellish multidimensional paradise. We look back at our ruins. We cannot help it. Humanoids craving concrete proof of our destruction. Only here does the illusion shatter. 7. First entry in Celestial Explorer's log. Love is beyond the tangible, immaterial, and organic, alchemy and magic, blood and flesh and bone. Love is the universal truth. Transmission ceases. Transmission resumes. 8. When given the option, the only choice should be to always bite the sun. Transmission no longer found.
Hold on, Kit stepped out for just a moment. Probably like the wrong timing on that one there. But let's go ahead and switch back here. Thank you, Finn Bell. Great having you here. All of you guys. I'm seeing from like the tech booth. I want to give a shout out to Genuine Reference Studios here in El Paso. If you guys you can follow them on Instagram, YouTube. Check out a lot of the content that they're providing. Here's Kit. All right.
It's a party. It's a party. What can we say? Well, before I introduce our next reader, a little bit of a confession to make, because I'm what they call a Nepo baby. We've talked about the Tumblewords family. In this case, the family connection is literal. Robin Schofield has been published before in the Paris Review and has been a poet for as long as I've known her. And Donna would always jokingly call her the poet laureate of Tumblewords, and I believe she keeps that title until she gives it up herself. So please welcome Robin Schofield.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kit. And thanks everybody for coming out. It's great to see everybody on Zoom too. That's been one of the really great things that has come out of the pandemic. It's all the new friends we have on Zoom. Okay, cool. I'm going to read some poems that I wrote in Tumblewords. I guess a couple of years ago, some fool said to me, "You are my dream woman." So I told him, "No, I'm your nightmare woman." So this is the one, the first one that came out. The fox jumps up in the old, dry Franklin Canal. She thought she might be permafrost, except for the way her heart jumped overnight. He takes the hunter's moon down from the sky, carrier of lightning and her liver that jumps for a bird of prey. The caribou come down her throat into the thyroid, and they drink from a mighty river, unlike the dry canal. She swears her eyes were nervous and yellow, her legs twitched like the voles above ground. Her nerves hissed with electricity, trashed like leaves. Let her come to the compost heap in all her bones when the river crests by the pineal gland. Open up the floodgates, turn on all the valves. Her blood vessels flee in the river like tiny darters. His forehead floats in the clouds, the night clouds. His lips a long drawn-out desert sunset. Her heart jumps like the fox in the dry canal. She dipped her hands into the river. She laid them on herself. Now she says her name. And this one came out in Tumblewords, and it's a good example of where a poem might take you where you don't expect it to. This is not exactly the poem I wanted to write, but here it is. No regrets from Nightmare Woman. Once I stood under a murmuration of cowbirds, whooshing and diving towards each other in mathematical acrobatics. I would have wandered longer among the wetland reeds. I would have spoken to you only. Conditional tense traps me in the future where no one can live. The future is this clay mud that tugs me down. Conditional tense is a road so rocky no one can drive it. And it ends in the future, which is a swamp where even the crows won't go. See, I meant to make that a really happy poem about the murmuration and being right there. I got to write a different poem about that. So anyway, this one is called Update on Nightmare Woman. She resists cleaning the quarks as she turns the socks right side out. She takes pride in the table of elements she devised for her desk, but she doesn't write in a methane diary. She changes the sheets at the frontier of another country. Her windswept archetype washes the postmodern dishes while her diagnosis sweeps the stairs. Walking the pre-Socratic dog, she pictures flowers for the drought-stricken camera along the map of the urban wilderness park. 3 dams hold back the particle waters, the volts of white light slanting through the desert psychosis. Oops. Wow. Donna used to do that on purpose. Remember, she would just, I didn't do it on purpose. Donna did it for me. That's right. The spirit of Donna did it. Yeah. And speaking of the spirit of Donna, I want to read one of my poems out of my book, Flow, which is about Tumblewords and was written in Tumblewords. Unlikely guy in the poetry workshop. He calls himself Twain, literary and laconic moniker, tall, even Lincoln-esque, but unkempt, hands caked with dirt, as though he dug out of the grave just yesterday, smelling of it too, sending the young lesbians in black tivas into rants on their own mortality. Then he says the Etruscans had too many words for divination. Haruspices and sulfur and mineral and grit, and he's weeping over his ex and her son, but what could she do when she called and his furies answered in rhyme and meter? All of us are staggered by it as he voices what voices him in 2 tongues cursed and gifted, dry wit railing against the riddled world. When Donna asks, would you like to lead a workshop? He replies, sure, if I'm not in jail.
I was not there for the Twain era, but yeah, I feel like I missed out. I feel like I took the wrong tab at Woodstock. Never tell what metaphors will happen. Coming up next to our digital stage, a gentleman, every time he shows up at Tumblewords, someone new compliments him on his deep voice. It's Martin L. Parker, who goes by Parquillian, is who I'm talking about. He's a lifelong language nerd, fascinated by poetry, calligraphy, and learning about the world's languages. And he credits his time with the Tumblewords Project and Donna in particular as an inspiration for his poetic explorations of late. We're happy to have him. Martin, please take it away.
Oh, thank you so much, Kit. Oh, honored to follow Robin Schofield. I just realized recently that I've actually been writing poetry for close to 50 years, but it's been loved doing it over the years, but it's very sporadic until finding Tumblewords. It's made it easier to do more frequently. And so I'd like to share a few that I've come out of the workshop. This first one is from this afternoon's workshop with Richie. This is Kiss the Sky. Jimi Hendrix once kissed the sky. Or was it just this guy nearby? His soul was touched by voodoo at birth. His Cherokee grandmother kissed the earth. Seattle in the Pacific Northwest was where his ancestors did their best to overcome their slavery past. He rose above and released a blast of never-known sounds that conquered the world as he let his colorful freak flag unfurl to break the bonds of our musical past till the axis of evil took him down at last. Discounted the windmills at which he would tilt, but could not burn down the house that he built. And this next one is from Carlos Espinosa's workshop about the desert. I call it Lines in the Deserts, and it's in loving memory of my uncle, Folger Defoe Hunt. My uncle died in the desert, dessert having been his final meal. Tamales had never agreed with him. We climbed up the slopes of Chukdoag. 5 minutes in the saddle was enough for me. With winds of 105 degrees, whistling past us through the pass. So we climbed back into the air-conditioned Bronco, meandering by the mission to an observatory peak, where strangely dark-headed blue jays would give us strange looks from yucca trees. My uncle died in the desert 6 months after I saw him last. I cried from far away. And then this is another one from a workshop about water, my subaquatic abode. My house, it lies at the bottom of a stream, watched over by the crab in its stellar lair. My eyes look up as the waters flow past, yet very seldom do I come up for air. No one has ever seen my abode, but on those occasions when I crack the door, some people may get a fleeting glimpse of light that illuminates a fluid floor. And next one is about my partner of many years. This is called My Partner's Crutches. She hates it when people ask her what happened. So often when they first notice her crutches, I'm always on knees, is her swift reply. When children ask her why she needs them, she'll say, my legs aren't as strong as yours. But her strength shows through from day to day as she makes her way through this crazy world that'll never, ever truly know what a wonderful miracle she is. And I thought I'd finish with one for Donna Snyder. When my father passed away, a song came into my head that I later learned the title of meant farewell. And then the night that Donna died, this song came into my head that inspired this poem about her. This is called Haunting Symphony for Donna Snyder. I hear a haunting symphony through voices missing someone dear, who lifted others with the words she scrawled in notebooks lying here, still holding lines that float above the webs of grief this world has spun. To paraphrase a song's refrain, someday we will all be as one. And thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you, Martin. Now, as in all instances of live entertainment, we're kind of flying by the seat here. And something very interesting has happened here tonight. And well, just as a lot of us came to Tumblewords because we happened to be in the right library on the right Saturday, somebody has joined us and has been taken in by the poetry and wants to share on his own. So I would like to welcome at this stage a gentleman I just met tonight, Don Martello. Please come up.
It's all good. First, thank you all for having me. So, this is called Anything. I had a dream last night that you called my name, but at least somebody called my name. Since throughout my journey, what I've mostly known as tropical storms, no compass, no anchor, I see through the mirages. It's only so much I can take. Will my bow finally break? Can you tell me why she birthed me? If she didn't want to be on this earth with me. On the night she left us, felt like she aborted me. Who would have knew what this world had in store for me? So who am I to ask for anything? I know nobody owes me anything. You was more than just my dad, you're my best friend. It's hard to have a wedding, mine is my best man.
Hi, you did great, Don. It's an honor to meet you. We hope to see you perhaps at Tumblewords pretty soon. Get some new stuff going. And our next performer comes to us from Toronto, Canada. Someone who's been a real revelation of the Zoom epoch. I love hearing her read, and she's even hosted 2 workshops that themed around dance that have been genuinely educational to me, two-footed soul that I am, left-footed soul that I am. And so I want to welcome now Kelly McAllister to our digital stage. Kelly.
Hello. I want to thank Donna, who I only got to meet very briefly, and also Kit, who has taken up the reins, because Tumblewords isn't just a workshop, it's a community of people that are so supportive and so welcoming. And I know to the El Paso residents, but also to those of us from around the world who popped in through the Zoom universe. It's a highlight of my week every week, and I'm so grateful to have found it. So I guess in true Tumbleweed spirit, I will start with something I wrote today at Tumblewords with Richie. It's called Selected Legends of an Ordinary Extraordinary Life. 1. The farm on which she was born lacked running water and electricity. On the day she was born, wires grew spontaneously along the road, whipping into place like vines and crackling with the potential of her birth. 4. At only 12 years old, she took a carriage to a train, went to a school that looked like a castle with the daughters of kings. She went toe-to-toe with them in class, then worked in the kitchens after that. 16. Her faith and goodness were so strong that despite all the fair princesses in all the lands, it was this kitchen worker who landed the prince, with the voice like velvet and the hockey player's ass. 22. 10 times she labored. 10 times she faced the miracle pain that creates life out of agony. 10 times she held a newborn baby to her breast. 10 times they have gathered to celebrate 50 years apiece. 25. Legend has it she can go without sleep, caring for the elderly residents during her night shift, only to return home and make breakfast for the kids, only to take the prince to his doctor's appointments, only to make dinner for the kids, only to care for the elderly residents during her night shift, only to make breakfast for the kids. 45. When faced with a person in need, she can make something appear from nothing. Though her own pockets are bare of coin, she can multiply ingredients, make magic in a kitchen, make a second pie for a family down the block. No one goes hungry on her watch. 73. Word has it that she taught a spoiled suburban girl how to fix a washing machine. Down on her hands and knees, grease smeared on her face, word has it that this girl still tells the tale to this day of the day an angel taught her that she was capable of repairs and not just destruction. 98. Every Christmas, her living room is visited by elves, making dozens of gifts for dozens of children who each know they are loved and special, even as they know that they are just one of many. Only a magic touch can bestow that honor and humility in one dose. 100. Without intention or ego, throughout both joy and pain, she's built a kingdom of a family. Our matriarch, long may she reign. The next one I wrote at a workshop by Robin Schofield. And it was really about words and sounds and syllables and how they sound together. So this is probably my favorite thing I've ever written as far as cohesive soundscapes go. It's called There Is Never Enough Room to Grieve. There is never enough room to grieve. No matter how desolate the moors, I still need more space for wailing lamentations, more space for meandering and veering, hunting the elusive healing, the gleaming promise of peace over each hill behind every rock as I walk, with the grief galling, every foot falling, every rhythmic beat of my feet on this path as I buckle under the burden of your memory, heavy with the gilding I have granted it, with eyes newly bereaved, the mythologizing of eulogizing, the selective memorizing that shapes fresh grief, too raw for the parts of you that were polarizing. So I walk more on these moors, worried that tomorrow this morning will be lighter, but even more that it won't be. And lastly, I want to finish with a poem. Well, it started as a poem and it turned into a short story, but it was from one of Kit's workshops. It was supposed to be about humor, but I did not take it to a humorous place because I never take it to a humorous place. It's called Love and Hate and Spoons. Sometime after the end of our blissful partnership of toddler and doting mother, but before she acrimoniously evicted me from the family home, there were birthdays. Hers and mine, many of them, I'm sure, but none stand out as clearly in my mind as the one with the spoons. I had stormed into the local Walmart, an independently wealthy 16-year-old thanks to my job at a 24-hour Tim Hortons, slinging coffee after school for curmudgeons and connoisseurs alike. I had money to spend and a mission to complete. It was my mother's birthday. I had to buy her a gift, a fact I resented, but not enough to change it. You see, I loved my mother the way I always had, with a single-minded devotion. Over the years, though, I had learned to hate her with the same fervor. My confusion came from the lesson that hate does not erase love. Even when you burn with it, it will never burn that person out of your heart. You must simply hold both feelings in the same body. This is particularly difficult during the trying teenage times when your body is still growing and the space in your head and your heart are at a premium. See, I knew what to do with the hate. Slam a door, emphatically. Scream, "You're ruining my life!" without a trace of irony. Change my mother's ringtone to Flight of the Valkyrie. Ensure that she heard it. She did. I knew what to do with the hate, but I wasn't sure what to do with the love that lingered. Like a vestigial organ I wanted to slice out of me that bubbled resentfully in my chest. The overwhelming love that demanded I recognize her birthday, side by side with the hate that demanded she know my gift was obligatory, that it was simply a token to mark the day, just birthday, no happy about it. I had stalked down the sterile aisles of the previously unknown to me home goods section, looking for the perfect item that said, "Here," and "Happy now," and "You're ruining my life." You may be shocked to find out that this niche market does not have a lot of options. A basic sweater is too cozy. It says, "I hope you are warm." I didn't care about her warmth. Not since she stopped caring for mine, ending every argument by demanding that I just get out. A nice vacuum is a cliche for a reason. but more the territory of the hapless husband. She was on her third at the time, though I didn't know him well enough to know if he'd be dumb enough to make that mistake. My fingers were crossed for yes. Still, not the gift I was looking for. Much to my shock, cookware cost a fortune, and minimum wage did not carry me as far as I naively thought it would. So no pots or pans as empty as my regard for her. I was losing hope almost as fast as I was losing interest. I almost walked past it the first time, the triumph of my quest. This token I had been looking for, but there it was. A nondescript set of utensils. Not only did our household, of course, already have utensils, but these were cheap, boring, forgettable. What would she even do with them? Nothing. Thanks, bud. Appreciate the support. Perfect. Their careless redundancy, their banal impotency, their utter uselessness, they were perfect. I smuggled them into the house under my hooded sweater and wrapped them with a flourish, tied the bow with nefarious glee and bided my time. She opened expensive gifts from the husband and sweet gifts from my sister. And then it was my turn. I watched her face intently as she peeled off the wrapping, waiting for the moment she saw them, for the disappointment in her eyes that I so craved and also dreaded, but that dread was shoved so deep down it barely registered, just a faint wave of nausea I wrote off as hunger. She pulled off the paper and looked right at the front of the box. And there was nothing. Nothing. She thanked me. Said she needed new spoons, however did I know. She smiled. The smile never did reach her eyes, but the mask didn't crack. My carefully aimed shot was at best a graze. I would see no blood drawn that day. My unsatisfied glee sat in the pit of my stomach, rotting. Decades later, many birthdays in the future, we found ourselves celebrating one of my own. Long after the hate had faded in the full force of the love that swells in adulthood, when you can better see the scope of sacrifices made in your name. After the poignancy of your parents' humanity grinds down the sharp edges of their failings. After the love and hate have each carved a home within you and called truce, and you learned that the hate is not a flaw of love, but a feature of the feeling. And after everyone involved has had a lot of therapy. My mother beamed as she presented me with a small gift. Inside were the most beautiful utensils. Polka dots pressed on the solid handles that felt good in the hand, quirky and sturdy and utterly me. No one else at that table understood why I was sobbing, with a spoon clutched to my chest. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Yes, that was in one of my workshops. I gave y'all The Lanyard by Billy Collins to work with. And if you view art as a conversation, what a awkward conversation you make with that piece. Oh, but it's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and every Saturday. And well, we've had a couple of no-shows and a couple of open spots in our live section, but that gives us the freedom to do something a little fun. So where Richie Marrufo sitting, minding the ones and twos and the P's and Q's. I'd like to call him up and see if he wants to read something. Sorry to put you on the spot, but it's gonna make for good TV.
Awesome. Thank you, Kit. Also, it was great to see some of the people share their work that they wrote today at the workshop. So these are a couple of newish pieces, some stuff I'm workshopping and trying to make a series out of. This first one in particular, a series that I want to write more of, a series called Música Mestiza. If Melquiades were a merengue musician, what kind of chord progressions would he throw down and leave to be deciphered in the dance steps of lovers? Hand to waist, eye to eye, hips in sync to a 2/4 beat. Would he take a split second during a break, during a rest, to gaze beyond the bell of his horn and come to focus his gaze on the mystic whirl of lovers intertwined in a moment, a syncretic soundscape, living beyond the scuffle of leather, swish of fabric, click of valves, and the trumpet's blare, stretched out in a ribbon of sound. Would Trujillo embrace merengue so freely if he was forced to celebrate the dark sounds of its African lineage? Música mestiza, mira nomás, this is the supreme sound and the sacred silence, the secret scores of ancestors inscribed into our skeletons and compel us to dance as our act of resistance. Play away, Melquiades, play away. This next one's called Alargando, which in music is a musical direction. And that's when the music is intended to get slower and slower and larger. And I just think it's a good musical metaphor for this topic. I want to experience you in slow motion, to better understand the flutter of your smile as it unfolds into a mercy I had only known to see take flight for better men. You can't break this Mazapan heart. We covered it in sweetness. And last one, this was written during the pandemic. So when we were all sheltered and coming up with our own ways of survival, staying afloat, and where also a lot of us were able to meet online. This one is called Ever Patient Skywatcher. Inspiration, I've seen you through the clouds, amongst the people and in the crowds. Last night, the stars sang to me, blanketed me in threads of light, in the chaos of eons and eons beyond that space of understanding, standing under, over, in, on, at, around, and within. Call me ever patient skywatcher. I have learned to assign moments under the stars as paradigms for understanding. Last night, the stars sang to me, a luminescent loom in essence, taught me that inspiration doesn't just live in timelines. It holds no expiration dates, but it dares to exist like a spark through the darkness, waiting to be ignited. Shh. You listen closely, you can hear it. We're talking relevance and retrospect, hence our introspective perspectives may come to be respected as they grow in the infinite, minute by minute, like lit wick, as hands click to the tick, tick. Tolerance to the entropy of existence has dictated it must be. Mira, manifest this tequila into discarded coffee cups. Yes, the usefulness of a cup is in its emptiness. That is its own kind of magic. It persists, perseveres, it runs on and on into spray paint sizzle of midnight mist, flora y fauna, aloe vera y la verdad. Moon, magnificent, mystifies, entangles my heart in her moonbeams. See, there's something about taking moments to reflect, to quiet things down and listen to the slowing down of your very own breath, to place your hand on your chest and feel your theme music. That steady bass line, pumping life force, while the night breeze paints the air around you like the moon greets me like an old friend, and here I am. Aquí estoy, finger on the pulse of a moment, ear to the rhythm of this mixtape music. Wind in hair, eyes closed, the world takes a breath and I feel the cry. The world is hurting and I am trying my best, and I realize that sometimes my best has to be better. It is a cascade of thoughts swirling into the abyss, stretched out and pulled to the sound of be better, 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 be. The thought mimics the musicality of black holes as it repeats and repeats as it gains steam, grows momentum, claims more land, snakes throughout the cities in my head, synapses sparking, smoking, revealing that we all can't stop progress on a moving train of thoughts like tick, 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 bloom. All right. Thank you, Kit.
Thank you, Richie, the hardest working man on the border. Oh, you thought you escaped. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we're going to stick with the projector for the next two readers. Coming up next, I'm going to steal a line from Richie, but he's our main man in Maine. Brian Franco's enthusiasm for everyone he meets and everything that we do is reciprocated fully. And I'm so sad that he didn't put in a weird bio when he filled out the Google form this time around, but maybe he has to save all his material for Mondays. But anyway, Brian, please, when you're ready.
Well, thank you, Kit. Thank you, Richie. I guess your mother's not here, so I can't thank her for giving you to us. So is she still here? Is Robin's? Oh, she's live, right? So thank you, Robin, for giving us Kit. I want to just say, Tumblewords has really meant a great deal to me. I mean, Donna, you know, we can't ever say enough about Donna. We can't say enough about her dogs. We can't say enough about her couch. We can't say enough about the love and support she gave us all. I mean, I think about her. I wrote some poems about her. I'm not going to read those right now. I've been digging through my archives this afternoon for things that I wrote in Tumblewords. So the first one is from, actually the first one I'm going to do is the one I didn't get a chance to do today, that I did after Tumblewords was over, which was the first, which was the playlist thing from Richie. So this has no title. When I was a relatively young child, I asked my mother how long my labor was. She responded that I was her third child, and I easily slid out. I guess since the second I slid out, I've been slip sliding away through life, every which way but loose, in any which way I can. Someone once told me you're a dreamer. Nothing but a dreamer. Once, while walking on sunshine, I decided to chase ribbons in the sky, but every ribbon I caught fire as if I were trying to fly with wax wings, which isn't so far-fetched because every time I've fallen in love, I seem to have found myself free falling, over and over, tripping, falling with no safety net, landing on a mountain. Then I see my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brings me down. But against all odds, I get on my feet and I'm standing on my own. I tend to find myself running with the night, playing in the shadows. And of course, an impromptu total eclipse of the heart leads me climbing the stairway to heaven. And when I get to the top, there is a door with no knocker. So I find myself knocking on heaven's door till I'm dropped through a purgatorial trap door. And I find myself back where I started. I find myself running down a dream, chasing love, running until I am barely breathing and I can't find the air. But I know from experience that love is like oxygen. You get too much, you get too high, not enough, and you're gonna die. In the end, heaven knows it's not the way it should be. Heaven knows it's not the way it could be. Heaven knows love is what I need. So I should thank Richie for that wonderful prompt. And I think I'm gonna go next to something I wrote in a Robin Schofield one. I don't know what the prompt was, but this is, I have seen the giant bean in Chicago. So shiny, more mylan than aluminum foil. a funhouse mirror you can look at yourself and strangers in, as well as a distorted view of the Chicago skyline. I think it makes a better postcard than selfie. While it's supposed to be a shiny kidney bean, I think more a few dancing drops of mercury that escaped from a thermometer in the dead of night. As mercury drops do, they pool together, and on a cold Chicago night, they became a sort of arch. And the next morning, they became a bean. They stayed put. Every day, people look at distorted views of themselves in the bean. They smile and laugh, then take selfies. The postcard of Chicago tends to evade their thoughts. These unaware people walk under the bean's bottom curve as if they are beads of mercury scattering, trying to not attract each other. I have friends who have adopted feral cats. Imagine that, adopting a feral cat. There once was an old lady who swallowed a fly. That's just an urban legend. There have been flying insects that have flown into my ear when I was sitting still. They have never decided to stay or explored my ear canal, thank the Lord. The people I know with feral cats don't tell horror stories. Feral cats tend to hide more than show their presence. They easily acclimate to bowls of food and litter boxes. They even take to becoming indoor cats and wearing collars. It's rare that feral cats seek out human contact, like being pet or brushed. They never want to sleep on their owner's beds. I have been approached by a friend's feral cat. It stood a few feet away from me and stared at me like the bobcat who stared at me with red glowing eyes outside my uncle's sliding glass door from the Arizona desert one night. The bobcat stared me down for several minutes, then he or she got bored and raced off into the tumbleweeds. My friend's cat looked at the stranger existing in his mother's recliner for only a minute, then left the room. I didn't see the cat till the next morning. And I have a piece that I did in a Finn Bell workshop. Let's see if I can find it. It's called I Lived Ever After. Once upon a time, I was a child filled with wonderment and curiosity. I was a child who colored outside the lines, not because he could, but because it was hard to stay inside the lines. It was not seen as adventurous or abstract, but wrong. Once upon a time, I was an awkward teenager stuck inside a fragile shell. It was at times totally transparent, and at times an opaque, blurry mess. I tap it from the inside, hoping to break free of shyness and bullying. Sometimes a piece would chip off, allowing me to breathe new, fresh air. It also sometimes repaired itself as I slept, so I learned the shell's structural misgivings. Then one day, it broke apart into several large fragments that fell onto the space that surrounded my life. I carefully stepped over the broken glass jagged edge of what was left of the shell. Once upon a time, I was an ambitious kid in his 20s. By all accounts of everyone else, my future was bright. I actually had a plan that made sense. My smile was my calling card. My attitude was mentally positive. Once upon a time, I was almost 29. I could feel my future calling me, and I answered the phone every time. Then one day, I woke up crying. I woke up crying for no reason at all. My future was nowhere to be found inside my mind. The crying was as jagged as the jagged edge of the shell I escaped from. My psyche was walking on its tiptoes, trying to avoid the broken glass from the shell it thought it had left behind. I had to navigate Titanic around iceberg tears, but my tears melted into enough saline to sink my existence into oblivion. Luckily, I wore a life jacket, which allowed me to float through the debris of every shipwreck I never knew I caused. I passed out and woke one day atop Ararat. I climbed down the mount. All the tears had resurfaced my soul like a Susan Lucci infomercial chemical peel. When I found a mirror, I looked myself in the eyes and woke up. Wow, that's the end of that. And do I have time for one more, Kit? Okay, I will just do a piece that I did in my own workshop about the word hate. Hate is a hard word. To achieve hate takes energy. Sometimes the word hate is used in jest. Sometimes the word hate is misused intentionally. Hate never just happens. It can be taught, it can be cajoled, it can even be disguised as beneficial. It is never inconsequential, it is always uncontained. Its existence is a stain that can never be removed. When bleach removes a stain from anything, that anything will have a spot where the stain used to be. There are people who exhibit hate like a badge of honor, unaware that they are hateful. There are people that experience hate that stains their psyches, and unlike a rug or clothes, there is no bleach to erase such stains. When I say I hate black licorice or Jell-O, I'm not sure if I can hate something my taste buds decide are gross. But to hate a person, I'm not sure how that can happen, but I know I'm fully capable of it. There have been people I considered toxic that have not achieved being hated in my mind. To say I hate another person feels like a scar that is only visible to me. To achieve hate takes a lot of energy. Hate is a hard word. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And for the last Zoom reader of the evening, we're going to go not that far from here to Silver City at Western New Mexico at their poetry celebration on campus. They actually, as Brian said to open his set, that we can't say enough about Donna Snyder, and the institution of Western New Mexico agreed. They included a tribute to her in their Poetry Day Poetry Month celebration. And I was real grateful to see that. And I saw that courtesy of our next reader, Heather Franklin, who hosted a very fun Halloween themed one last October and has a poetry chapbook coming out in the fall from Finishing Line Press. They teach at WNMU and they're about to read right now. Heather, thank you for showing up. Please go.
Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? All right. Okay, good. So a big thank you to Tumblewords, to Kit, to Donna. Gilda, who's my colleague, she's the one who recommended me to go to Tumblewords, and through her, I actually have this checked out from the library at Western. So when you said Mouth Feel Press, I'm like, I have that book on my shelf. So it's great to that we're supportive and part of that community as well. And so what I thought I would do is read 3 poems, and if there's time, maybe a fourth one. And the first poem is one that I read at the landscape workshop that I led, and it's called $2 Mangoes. And so I was in the Peace Corps a few times. I was in Peru and Panama, then Peru again. And so some of the poems are really focused on that. So 2 of the poems. And I was going to say, just a shout out with Brian, I actually have a feral cat that I thought was going to make she like to stand on my shoulder, but she is behaving herself tonight. So hopefully she will still behave herself. $2 Mangoes. It is necessary to eat a fruit roll up when you are dreaming about fruits from a land where you once lived and called home. Your identity, a twist of green skin citrus. Your love, the pit of a sun-ripened mango. Not the army of hard imported mangoes that you pretend still smell, of the lands where their seeds and roots grew, of the lands where their bodies perched on limbs, heavily bending branches to touch dirt. In kindness, I will consider these ones, their hard bodies pressed tight to the ridge of the fruit display, their gypsy past a novelty to most here. But their future in my basket looks bleak. True, it said that things ripen in the warmth of a paper bag placed on the kitchen counter, but often they rot before the fruit can be sliced open, and you realize it's just a shell of suggested sweetness, a nagging acknowledgement that it and you are no longer in that soil anymore. So that's a landscape poem. And then I figured I'd read a slightly longer one. This was published in Sin Fronteras Press out of Doña Ana County, so good one to send your work to. And this is called Fragments of a Church, Campo Santo Ungay. So it's about a place where there had been a huge tragedy in the 70s and basically an avalanche that covered the city. So Fragments of a Church, Campo Santo Ungay. It is not a cold day. The insects whistle, birds sing in soprano voices, roses clutter the air. Clay roofs peek under our feet. A bus uses its elbows to pull itself out of the earth, its legs tangled and disconnected. They say there were 4 owls crying the night before the earthquake, and people should have known that something tragic was going to happen. All those orphans shipped off to Spain, France, Russia, the United States, come back to Campo Santo, plant their roses, find their streets, and the clay roofs of their houses. Are mom and dad still underneath? They knock on the dirt. Is the telephone still ringing? There were 36 palm trees, 4 still stand, but they are rotting. Climbing to the top of the cemetery, I am out of breath. A Peruvian man returning from the US asked me to take a picture of him and his wife standing near the edge. Paula's husband refuses to enter the Campo Santo with her. It is a local superstition. The couples that enter together don't stay together. The Campo Santo smells too good to be a Campo Santo. The first time I visited, this beautiful land was a cold place. Now the sun is so bright, I can't see my shadow. Hurry. Let's not wait for it to come back and capture me. I won't take any rose petals or stones for memory. I won't take the video of the tragedy or the postcards. I will only take this picture, this snapshot. The glacier still sits. The city does not. And this is the title, the first poem for my chapbook. The funny story is I didn't think this was a good poem. It took someone else convincing me that it was a good poem, because this is just a poem for my grandma. She is still alive. She's 98. She likes poetry. I wanted her to have a poem while she could still appreciate one. So A Country Kitchen Window. Wooden frame, 2 sun catchers cascade, rainbows across my face as I pretend that I like washing dishes, submerging my hands into the sudsy water, seeing bubbles on my pale, wrinkling skin. My ring, no wedding ring, is placed by the Yardley English lavender bottle, something so simple and so elegant. All of us female relatives no longer ask to help. We say, sit down, grandma, and relax. Still, she runs around to make sure everything is okay. Everyone is okay. Fluttering from person to person like a butterfly dancing among stalks of milkweed. Yet, there are stories beyond the sweetness you associate with the grandmother. An Easter chick ripped open by the dog, my uncle as a young boy crying, grandma taking out her thread steadily, stuffing the organs back in, sewing the chick back together. The chick lived to be an old chicken, my dad remembers. I am not as strong of a woman as grandma. Still, I can wash dishes and watch bluebirds as bright as figurines you see in the store windows, fly to their nest, race to build a home, and family before the invasive English sparrows smother their happiness again. Can the domestic also be the heroic? Can the ordinary also be the extraordinary? I think my dishwater wrinkled hands tell me of stories I have yet to translate. I have yet, and perhaps never, to find the right words. Thank you. So Kit, is there time for another one? If not, I'm good.
You're good. Let's do it.
Okay, I'll just do, I'll do one last one. I have a tendency to write real serious poems, and this one's not, and so it's kind of fun to end on a fun poem. This is called, there's a couple things. In Peru, they call me Flor. That was my nickname. And chicha is corn liquor, so that'll set the scene. Over 1 cup of tea, 4 tablespoons of sugar. The man in the moon is San Jose riding on his burro, claro que sí. And the clips you insist we watch with you will bring sickness, claro que sí. And we must plant San Pedro cacti to protect us from that woman's curses, claro que sí. If you aren't careful, that loca will fly the walls and make you loca too, claro que sí. For someone so smart, you are incredibly innocent, gringa. Don't worry. We will watch over you. You have a lot to learn, claro que sí. And we have a lot to teach, claro que sí. For now, sit outside underneath the eucalyptus tree. We will watch the sunset and tease Rosita, who at 17 has been single for way too long. What about you, Florcita? Necesitas un varón? You need a man. Don't you want a souvenir to take home? A little hijito to carry in your pouch? It would be a good exchange. Then you'd always come back and visit us. Then you'd always be a part of this land. Vamos a buscar uno para ti. We're gonna look for one for you. He will be just right. Espera. Drink some more chicha. It sharpens the vision and clears the heart. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Heather. That was the last of our scheduled readers, but just like in Tumblewords itself, the host goes last. I just want to read 2 quick ones and do sort of explain what, if I can remember which workshop they came from. This is a pretty recent one. This came from Robin Schofield's workshop on Charles Simic. Some of my dreams are bad ideas. I safely get to watch them play out like I would watch a sun bear clamber up his tree at the zoo. Some of my dreams are warnings. Despite the topic being danger, they are staid and matter of fact like a training video at a chemical factory. I try to play it safe, even in my subconscious. I try to encourage my dreams to be no more than slightly altered memories, deleted scenes and storyboards of a past that was, more or less. But I can only buy what's on offer. The concierge keeps smiling, but his eyes keep doing other things. Not even unified in their mandate. One rolls to the ceiling. He offered once to let me die. I negotiated, no pain, no blood, and watched myself get electrocuted by a faulty headset at a job I had not worked in years. There was a total black that weighed on me. There was a total silence that went into my mouth. And when I woke up, I was startled, dismayed and untrusting of the life after death. Sometimes the world now devolves into clicks and fuzz like a UHF television dial being twisted out of malice. And I long again for the silence of the tomb, which I had for about 5-10 minutes. I wouldn't want to stay longer than that. I would use it to orient myself like a factory reset, to turn annoyances back into novelties. But the archetypes of anti-drug PSAs are imprinted on me and alert every time I want something. And the concierge in the Nightmare Hotel is far too eager to give me what I want. And a little trivia question. The first Tumblewords of the Zoom epoch was me doing one on Jack Gilbert, my favorite poet. And I made everyone read Alone by Jack Gilbert, which was a tribute to his last wife, and told them to imagine a strange reunion, not necessarily bad, but just kind of weird. And I got this poem out of that. It's called The Reformation. The comedians have renounced raunch and transphobia and hatred in general. They have seen their folly, they tell me. They credit me for their demasking moment. They line up and say sorry and thank you as if it is all one word, a chant for newly shaved Hare Krishnas. They have set up this event, the first of its kind post-pandemic, to prove their sincerity to me. One approaches the mic and then another. They are all reading aloud from the same worn copy of Capitalism and Schizophrenia by Giles Deleuze. They pass the one copy between themselves as they all take their turn, going for exactly 7 minutes each. It has a used tag from a college bookstore, University of Vermont? Yeah. Charlie the Catamount is just barely smiling at me from the crinkled sticker on the spine. Their faces as they perform are intense, and as the others sit and watch, they are rapt. One is taking notes. My companion and I retreat to the patio, and by his leave, I smoke my first cigarette in 4 years. One by one, the comedians follow me out, eager and pleading like seminary students. Is this better? Are we better now, Kit? Have we made up for our sins and our wayward lives? The truth is, I don't know. Jesus Christ. The truth is, I thought I would always have to fight the comedians for saying one awful thing or another. I viewed it as a responsibility that I had to the scene. And the truth is, I have a middle management bred paranoia about what it means when a responsibility gets taken away. The truth is, I liked to fight against the comedians so much that I never gave a thought to what victory would look like. The truth is, I confess to the one with the notebook, I haven't read very much theory. Oh, so once again, I want to thank everyone who showed up, both in person and through Zoom, and shared what Tumblewords means to them, what the departed Donna meant to them. And I feel so optimistic about the future of our program, about the next 28 years. And just, this has been a fantastic night, and I want to thank you all for being a part of it. And you in the future, thank you for watching. All right. And thanks again to everyone at Genuine Reference Studios, Babalo, Bren, Jules, Javier, Chris. Thank you all for making this possible. And nothing happens in this town without Richie Marrufo say so. So thank you. And all right, have a great night.